All right, good morning, everyone. Okay, let's get started. Firstly, let's take a look at the economic calendar for today. For Wednesday, January 31st, we have the following. We had already ADP non-farm employment change, which came in at 107,000, which is a lot less than expected. The expectation was 148,000. The previous reading was 158,000, so that's a very sharp drop. We also have employment cost index quarter over quarter, which came in softer than expected at 0.9%. Expectation was 1%, previous reading was 1.1%. So for both of these numbers, we have a negative surprise, or they came in worse than expected. At 9:45 a.m. Eastern, we'll have Chicago PMI, which is expected to have a moderate impact. Then at 2 p.m. Eastern, the most important announcement of the day will be the federal funds rate and the FOMC statement, both again coming out 2 p.m. Eastern. And then we'll have the FOMC press conference at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, which means that from 2 p.m. Eastern onwards, the markets will most likely be untradable. So therefore, you want to be out of positions just before this news is announced, and you do not want to initiate new positions after. Um, Now, this is where most people who are not experienced lose money, and even for people who are experienced and know better, they will basically avoid trading during this time period since the markets become very volatile, much less predictable. So again, as a fair warning, you do not want to be in trades through the FOMC statement, right? Having said that, let's take a look at the markets and see how things are going. So the Nasdaq currently is down, which is not surprising. Um, as the FOMC statement is coming in, one of the things to keep in mind is we saw the market sell off yesterday, just before the statement was, or sorry, after the numbers that were released yesterday. We saw the market decline, and the probable reason why is because they were looking at the data that was released just before, for yesterday, and that's the last data point. Well, it was the last data point from yesterday that was released before the FOMC statement, one of the major data points. So it looks like the market basically responded to that data point, anticipating what the result will be for today. But we'll see. Okay, so that's where we're at right now. All right, having said that, let's take a look at yesterday's action. So the NASDAQ was mostly bearish yesterday. Not extremely bearish, but at the same time, the majority of the movement occurred after 10 o'clock Eastern, which was when we had our major economic data release at that time. Looks like the market again interpreted that in a bearish manner. I believe they're thinking that this will influence the Fed to be more likely to hold interest rates higher, delay lowering them. Also, there's a small potential that the Fed may raise interest rates, but I think the market's just anticipating that the Fed will hold interest rates higher for a longer period than what was previously expected. So that's had a negative impact on the market. So we are sharply down overnight. We'll see if that continues into the open. All right. Having said that, let's take a look at which stocks were moving yesterday, which is a fairly short list. So first up, we have Flex, which was one of the stocks that was identified later in the day. It was able to reach its target number one of 2387, which we found the stock once it already had reached there. It only got to halfway to target number two, and that was at the very end of the session. So although it did make a significant move up later, not the most opportune trading opportunity that we had. Next, we have Roku, which was biased in the negative direction. It never reached its target number one to the downside, which was 89.41. Uh, it got over three-fourths of the way towards it, but never reached it. So that one does not count. Next up, we have Mobileye, which was able to reach its target number two to the downside of 26.26. So that one played out just right. Apple was able to get to about two-thirds of the way down to target number two to the downside. Never reached its target number two to the downside, which was 107.01. We only looked at this after it passed its target number one to the downside, which was 188.98. INTC was able to reach its target number one to the downside, which was 43.06. And then after that, it basically got stuck there, was not able to go beyond that target. So that was INTC. And that was basically it. So not a huge number of stocks that we were able to take advantage of here. All right, moving on. Let's take a look at what's happening in the pre-market. Do have a lot of stocks that are showing up in the pre-market, so let's rush through them. So ENSC is first. That is currently up 35.42% on 6.8 million shares of volume. This also is trading at least $1 per share, and it's a NASDAQ listed stock. So since that meets all of our criteria, we'll go ahead and add that to our pre-market radar. Again, the symbol is ENSC. Okay, next up we have GHSI, which was able to, which is up, 80%, 2.4 million shares roughly traded. It's at least $1 per share, so that does qualify. So we'll add that to our pre-market radar as well. Next up, we have Remark Media. Now, this stock had a gigantic move yesterday, but the reason why it's not on our radar, or wasn't on our radar, is it was trading under $1 per share, but once it got above $1, that would qualify. However, right now it's trading under $1 again, so unfortunately we cannot look at this. It was above $1 a little earlier in the pre-market, but since then, or in the post-market, it was above $1. Since then, it's been below. So this one, unfortunately, does not qualify, so we cannot add that to our radar since it's trading under the necessary price. All right, moving on. Next, we have MINM, which is presently trading up about 23% positive, about 3.2 million shares traded, and it's at least $1 per share, so that definitely qualifies. We'll go ahead and add MINM to the pre-market radar. Next up, we have PARA, Paramount Global, presently up 13.82% on roughly 8 million shares traded. It's at least $1 per share, so that definitely qualifies. So we'll go ahead and add PARA to our pre-market watch list. Next up, we have Plug Power, currently spiking up 8.3% on 4.2 million shares, trading at least $1 per share. That's also a stock that's regularly on our watch list anyway, so I'll add Plug to our radar. Next up, we have PXLW, currently up just under 9%, 1.4 million shares traded, at least $1 per share. That all qualifies, so we'll go ahead and add that to our pre-market radar as well. And that should be it. SoFi does not qualify since it's only down 3.45%. So if you folks see any other stocks that meet our four criteria, other than the stocks that I've already mentioned, there's six of them. We have ENSC, GHSI, MINM, PARA, Plug, PLUG, and PXLW. These are all the stocks that are currently located. So if you see any other stocks meeting our four criteria, let me know in the chat. The four criteria again are: it must be a NASDAQ listed stock. It must be trading at least $1 per share of value in the pre-market session as of now. As of now, it also must have a 6% price change, either positive or negative from where it was yesterday. And it must trade at least 1 million shares pre-market volume, as you can see up here. So if any stocks meet those four criteria, let me know in the chat, and then we'll go ahead and add that to our list, other than the stocks, of course, that we already have. NYCB. All right, let's see if that's, of course, I'm assuming that's a NASDAQ stock. Let's find out. It is not. So NYCB is not a NASDAQ listed stock, so unfortunately that does not qualify. It's a big move, but it doesn't qualify. Any other stocks, folks? Mark. We already have Mark on our radar, I think. Or at least I think we already looked at it. Yeah. So Mark, I mentioned just a little earlier. This is a stock that's not trading above $1 per share, so therefore it doesn't qualify for our list. So any other stocks, folks, that meet our four criteria must be trading at least $1 per share, must be NASDAQ listed, $1 per share in the pre-market. Remember, we're not looking at what's happened yesterday, but where it's at right now. Also must have right now at least a 6% price change, and also, as of now, it must be trading at least 1 million shares in the pre-market. We already have ENSC on our radar. So if you look at the list of stocks I just posted in the chat, you'll see ENSC, GHSI, MINM, PARA, and PLUG, and PXLW. These are already there. So make sure we're looking for stocks outside of that list. I'll go ahead and add those to the pre-market watch list. All right. So I guess we'll wrap up for today. So please be sure to like the video. I see we have 7 likes. Definitely much more than 7 people watching the broadcast. So please be sure to hit the like button if you're watching. Make sure you hit the like button before you depart. This greatly helps us with the YouTube algorithm. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel so that way you have your notifications turned on for the channel. If anyone's watching this broadcast on replay, since it is recorded, please be sure to check out fundertrading.com, our website. You'll see a link in the description of this video. Other than that, for everyone who's part of the coaching room, I'll see you there in about 22 minutes, and we'll pick up for today's trading session, okay? Have a great trading day, and also I'll see everyone for tomorrow's pre-market pulse. Take care, folks. Trade well.